Hi everyone, so today we're going to be doing another day book or journal. Specifically, we will be dealing with the purchases day book. Last class we did the sales day book. We also worked with a few ledgers. We did sales ledgers and general ledgers. Today, in addition to the day book I just mentioned, I will go over purchases ledgers, which we know are accounts payable, and we will also be working with one general ledger, which will be purchases in this case. In addition to what I just mentioned, you will notice that the day book has a page number, which I will explain shortly. I want you to notice as well that the ledgers, the T accounts, they also have a page number, which I intentionally ignored the last chapter, and I mentioned to you all that I was going to explain that when I cover the other chapter, and this is the other chapter, so you need to be very attentive because we are not ignoring any of the instructions here. There is one shortcut I am taking. You will notice that I have the answer for this particular purchase, well, for every purchase that we made. Instead of me showing you how do we get, for example, May 1st, how did we get 450, I am taking that shortcut. I showed you guys how to do that in the last video, so you can go ahead and look at this video or just this breakdown that I have here if that helps out. So that is the only shortcut I'm taking. I want you to be very attentive with the page numbers, and note that these are not sales ledgers, they are purchases ledgers, so we address them slightly different. So the first transaction, well, let me start from the very top. B-Man has the following purchases for the month of May 2017. So these are all purchases, so immediately we know that we will be using the purchases day book because these are the purchases we've made on credit. Okay, so May 1st we have that we are purchasing from K-Can, and we are purchasing a few items that you can pause the video and you can read all the items and you can do your own calculation. And at the end of the items and the scenario, you get something in brackets here. It says ledger page 84, which I will address. Let me address it now. Okay, so this page number right here that you see, it's for K-Can. So we'll use that page number when we open the T account for K-Can. So notice I have the T account for K-Can here, and I have the page number 84. Okay, so that is what I have. That is how I use that number. It's right here. In the same way, when we purchase from Abel, they give you the transaction and they give you a ledger page number at the end. This is 208 Abel. So when we open the T account for Abel, the page number will be 208. They're just random numbers, so we need to make sure that we are using the random numbers that they are providing you. If the textbook does not provide you with a page number, then you just simply do not use the page number and you do something very similar to what we did the previous chapter, whereby we were not using numbers. May 15, something similar. J. Kelly, it's page 11, so you would see that I have page 11 there. And then B. Powell has page 187 right there, and B. Lewis has page 66. So B. Lewis, page 66, you can see that right there. And then in addition to that, they tell you that these are the instructions. So you are required to enter up the purchases they book for the month on page 177. So you need to journalize, you need to use the purchases they book, and they give you a page number. which is 177. So you would see that we have purchases they book, page 177. I have 117 there, so it should be 177. So that's how we have a page number there. And then post the transactions to the supplier's accounts. The reference number are shown in the brackets after each transaction. So B, it's telling you to use these numbers right here that I just explained to you. Then transfer the totals to the purchases account on page 99 of the general ledger. So I have a general ledger here, which is purchases, and it's page 99, which, so that's instruction C, page 99, purchases is page 99. Show all folio numbers. So we're going to be using those numbers right now. Okay. So let's start with journalizing. Let's start using the purchases they book. So May 1st, you know that it's 450 that you need to journalize. It's 2017. May 1st. From whom did we purchase? We purchased from K-Can, so that means that we owe K-Can invoice number. We start with 01. Folio, we will leave that when we start posting. Some students write the folio here at this point. I prefer to do it when I start moving the information from this point, from the journal to the respective T account. So when I start posting, I do the folio, so I know that I do not miss any of the transactions. That's the proper way how to do it. So the amount is 450. Okay, so May 3rd, it's $800. And this time we purchased from Abel. Invoice 02. Sometimes the textbook will give you random invoice numbers. If they give you a random invoice number, you use that invoice number. So they're not giving you an invoice number here, so I'm just going to go with the same order that I use for the sales day book. Folio, I will leave it for later, as I said, $800. The next transaction is May 15. J. Kelly, that's the person that we owe. That's our accounts payable. Invoice number 03. Amount is $600. May 20th. We owe BOL. Invoice 04. Amount 280. The last transaction, May 30th. B. Lewis. Invoice number 05. Folio. Last, and then we have our amount, which is 640. Let me just verify that I did not miss anything before I proceed. Okay, so I did not miss anything, so I'll go ahead and I will single line in red here. There is a single line there already, so how will I fix that? I will just make the line thicker, I guess. So the line is thicker, and then I will go and add all my invoices. This is what I owe. I owe these people. Okay, so these are my accounts payable. I know specifically who do I owe 450. K-Can. Who do I owe $800? Abel. Okay, so I cannot, my description cannot be purchases here, because then how do I know to which T account do I post this journal entry? So it's very important that you have the proper description. So I'll go ahead and I will add my entire purchases for the month of May, and it's 2,770, double line. So very similar to the sales day book. You will notice a tiny difference right here once we get to the folio and once we start posting right now. Okay, so let us start posting. Let's take care first of the first transaction, which is May 1st. So this transaction needs to be moved, needs to be posted to a T account, specifically KCAN. So I have the account here, and I want you to notice that this is a purchases ledger, and these are accounts that we eventually need to pay off. So they are accounts payable. So right here, this transaction is showing us that we owe KCAN. So if we want to increase KCAN, we need to do it on the credit side, not on the debit side. Last week we were doing sales ledgers, so we were doing our entry on the debit side, but it was because we were doing accounts receivable. This time we're doing accounts payable, so we want to increase them on the opposite side, which is the credit side. So we're doing it on the opposite side this time. 2017, May 1st. Description, of course, will be purchases. Folio, I will come back to it right now. Amount will be the same amount, which is 450. Okay. So the folio, how do we use the folio? So from where is this transaction coming from? This transaction is coming from the purchases day book. So our folio will be here, purchases day book, PDB, and then we need to include the page number, which will be 177. So that's how we use that number. Okay, now here we need a folio as well. Okay, similar to what we did on the T accounts, we also need a folio right there. Now how do we use that folio? Well, first of all, keep in mind that this account specifically is a purchases ledger. So we will say here PL for purchase ledger, and then we need the specific page number. Which purchase ledger? The page number for the purchases ledger is 84, so we'll say PL 84. That's how we use the numbers. Let's do another example. So May 3rd, a bell. So this transaction needs to be taken to this T account. So I have the account here. Once again, this is an accounts payable that falls under the purchases ledger. So we want to increase this account. The only way we can increase this account is if we do it on the credit side, because this amount we owe to a bell, and if we owe, we increase liabilities on the credit side. So it is 2017, same date, of course, May 3rd. Description, purchases, folio, we will come back to it, and then the amount is $800. So folio, this transaction is coming directly from the purchases day book. So we say purchases day book, PDB, page number 177. It's the same day book. And here, where was this transaction posted to? It was posted to this T account, okay, which falls under purchases ledger. So we say PL, the page number 208. Okay. The following transaction will be posted to J. Kelly's account. Again, we want to increase the account, so we do it on the credit side. It's a liability, it's an accounts payable, a purchases ledger. I hope that part is clear. May 15, it's still purchases, folio PDB, page number it's still 177, so that does not change. The amount $600. Okay, so we need a folio here again. Same pattern. It's a purchase ledger, so we say PL. Page number for the purchases ledger is page 11, so PL 11. The other two transactions. B Powell. Again, we increase the account on the credit side. May 20th. Purchases. Folio. Back. 280, and now let's do the folio. So again, it's purchases day book, page 177, and here PL 187. Now let's do the last entry for the month. 2017. May 30th. May 30th. Purchases amount 280. Folio purchases day book, page 177. Right here it will be PL purchases ledger, page 66. Okay, so I want you to notice, very similar to the previous chapter, whereby we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 5 transactions, the only 5 transactions were posted to the credit side of the T accounts. So we do not have anything on the debit side, they're all on the credit side. So if we were to go ahead and ignore this, our trial balance would not balance off. Consequently, our financial statements would be wrong. So I need to make up, I need to compensate for these transactions that I have on the credit side here. I need to compensate it somehow, and that way, and that specific way how to compensate for it is to not ignoring the total purchases for the month. So I need to transfer this to a ledger, and that specific ledger falls under the general ledger category. Specifically, it's the purchases account with page number 99. But before I transfer it, I need a description here. So here it will be transferred to purchases account. We do not need a date for that. We do not need an invoice. We do need a folio. This specific amount, the total that you see there, right here actually, that is going to a GL, which I just mentioned. So that would be GL, and the page number is 99, I believe I said. Let me verify that. Yeah, the GL is page 99. So that is the description. I ran out of space there. Notice I just used the other line. That's not a problem. So remember that from the previous chapters, purchases will always be debited. So it's the same rule right here that we keep. So we'll do our entry 2017 May 30th. For our description, we will say purchases for the month. We could say credit purchases for the month, but I'll just leave it shorter. Purchases for the month. The amount is 770, so that's 2,770. From where is this transaction coming from? It's coming from the purchases they book, page 177. And with that, we conclude the purchases they book chapter. The following transactions that I will give you, they are not much different. The principle remains the same. Perhaps the transactions, they will change a bit. They might include other things, but they're minor calculations that you can do. But it's important that you know what to do with these transactions. How do you move them to T accounts, and understand why we are doing these entries are credit, and why on the previous chapters we were doing debit entries. So perhaps if you're confused with that, you might want to watch that video or just go over your definitions to make sure that you understand it, or bring your questions to class. In addition, this chapter, when I give you drills, they will ask you to combine. They would combine both chapters, so they might ask you to, they will ask you for sure, it's not a might, they will ask you to draw 2-day books. They will ask you to draw a sales day book, and then they will ask you also to draw a purchases day book. They will also ask you to do purchases ledgers, sales ledgers, and your general ledgers. So you need to make sure that you know how to apply these concepts, so you know what to debit, what to credit, what your descriptions are, and so forth. Okay, and now we're using the numbers, so that's very, very important as well. Bring your questions to our next class. That's it for today. Thank you.